somehow it's about to be spring. Granted, the weather's been so weird. I don't even know anymore. I'm still just going by the equinoxes. This is what I do here. If you're new, I've been doing this, for 4.5 years now, where every quarter I basically go, hey, here's what I wrapped up in winter. Here's what I hope to get to in spring in terms of series, because I am an avid series reader. I read fantasy and science fiction, both of which come with many a long series. And for me, it doesn't stress me how many I have open. I just like to make sure that if I care about continuing the series, that I don't forget about it. So every quarter, like checking in on, did I pick up those things that I mentioned last time? Or what did I pick up? What were the new things? What do I want to focus on the next quarter? These are just good for me in terms of just like aligning my focus. It also helps me figure out, are you DNFing? Are you pausing? Things like that. So we'll start with the wrap up. If I have any videos of note, I will point you that way. So yeah, we'll talk about first things that I've we'll say caught up on. I don't think I finished anything, which kind of tracks for how my winter was going. But I caught up in 1, 2, 3, 4 series, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. I caught up in 4 series. So that's not horrible. It's just, kind of nice to finish things. So first I finished, I don't even know what this duology is called, but Strange and Stubborn Endurance. The second book came out, All the Hidden Paths, and I read that. And I liked it. I wouldn't mind more books in this world because I do like this author's style. There's actually another duology written by this author that is more fantasy than fantasy romance that Deshauna had read that I'm interested in. It's not on this TBR, but I'm interested in that because I do like Foz Meadows' writing. So I would take another book in this world, but I do feel like these characters, this romantic arc is done. So I say caught up because I truly don't know the intentions of the author, but I finished it. I had a good time with it. I love the audiobook narrators, but be aware, it's a spicier romance. So if you don't like that with your ears, be aware. I also caught up with, it's called the Emrian series. I don't know, it's Iron and Flame and Fourth Wing series. I read Iron Flame, which was, a step down from Fourth Wing for me, mainly because of bloat. It's always freaking bloat. Just get to the point. Just be tight. You can be long if you're tight. It's not, you know what I'm saying? I just talked in my wrap-up last week how much I like Way of Kings. That's a very good book. It's very long. For sure, probably could have some stuff removed, but I feel like at least all of it feels more earned than whatever it was happening in Iron Flame. But I'm caught up. And it does end with one of my favorite CW tropes in terms of soap operas that are fantastical. This is the thing. I do love me a paranormal soap opera. Or not even paranormal, but supernatural, speculative soap operas. I love those. And I don't get them in books that often. And this one's doing okay for that. And that soap opera means it does not make sense. It means unputdownable. Which is why Iron Flame is a little upsetting. But the end of the book has one of the best tropes in that genre. So I'm pretty excited about it. I also caught up with Massa and Plady. So those is the Jupiter mystery detective stories. I have a recent release roundup for that and the Sworn Soldier novella series. Those are 2 novella series that I caught up with, which is impressive for me because I don't read novellas very often. Or at least novella series are hard for me to keep up with. But one's T. Kingfisher, so of course I kept up with it because I love T. Kingfisher. And the other one's Malka Older, who's an author who, although I want to love more than I do, always appreciate and respect her works a lot. And this is my favorite. I'm liking this significantly more than Infomocracy. I love the world building on Jupiter. I love what we learn, and it's mostly Massa and Plady. I really enjoy them. Plady's a little more annoying to me in the second book than the first, but I caught up with those, and I would love more books in either one, but they kind of are standalone thoughts in the series sort of idea, episodic is I think the word we want for that. I also read, and this is not fantasy or science fiction, but I'm caught up with the Part of Your World series by Abby Jimenez. Is there going to be another book? I don't know. I'll read it. I'll read anything she writes. I haven't read in here a backlist. I'm tempted by some of them. Some of the tropes don't seem like my favorite thing, and that's you gotta like the tropes if you're reading a romance book. That's there's more than tropes, but it helps if you like the tropes, right? Loved these. These saved my Christmas break. I was so stressed. Because if you don't know, I moved 4 days before Christmas. Across the country. So these were great. They actually made me laugh out loud. I'm really happy that I read them and that I loved them. The hype is deserved. It's deserved. One that I'm currently caught up with, but like not really because I do own the third book, but for those of you watching this, the third book's not out yet. And that's the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. I read Don't Fear the Reaper in January, and it was very good. And I really like it, and I'm excited to finish the trilogy and have a should you read for the series. It should be fantastic. So I believe those are all the things that I'm caught up with. Things that I started? Okay, well, first two things that I started that I'm probably going to DNF. The Rereads trilogy. This is Surviving Sky. I'm bummed about it because the cover is stunning and there are a lot of really cool, unique ideas, but I really didn't like this book that much. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's, it wasn't my favorite thing. It was like a solid 3.5 star. I don't want to continue a series where the books are 500 pages and it's a solid 3.5 star. It's not who I am. It's not the energy I'm bringing into 2024. But you might like it if you like going through a marriage that's full of strife because they have career or personal issues sort of thing. If you want plant-based psi magic sort of stuff. And if you want, I believe it's Indian influence in the magic system, but for sure South Asian. And I thought that was a really cool part of it. I struggled to care about the characters' motivations, which I'm very character-driven. I already mentioned, wrap-up earlier this month that I did try War Child. That was on my TBR, but I DNF'd it. So obviously I'm DNFing the series. One that I'm on the fence about. I read Thefts of Swords, which is the first 2 books in the Rereads Revelations? I don't know. Ryrie or something. First Michael J. Sullivan. Didn't dislike them, but I didn't love them. And I don't know when I will get to the second book. So this is more of a pause than a DNF, but it's not a high priority series. But I did finally at least try it out. And then ones that I've started that when the next books come out, I will read. Well, there's only one for that. The other ones I started because they're rereads. So the one I started that is not a reread is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I had a lot of fun with this. I will read the sequel. I already know who the couple's going to be based off the epilogue. Sounds fun. But the other 3 are all rereads, restarts. So one is Stormlight Archive. The 5th book comes out this year. I feel like I don't need to explain that. The Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, because my friend Laura started to read it, and I'd been wanting to reread this series for ever. And that's been a great decision. And then I decided that I needed to restart Malazan. So I'm reading Guardians of the Moon. So those are the 3 that I started that were rereads. And a thing I continued. This is the only series that I continued, that I didn't catch up with or anything. It just was continued. And that's the Vorkosigan Saga by Bejeweled. I love this series. I'm having so much fun with it. It's just it's just great. I don't really know how to describe it. Eventually, because I probably shouldn't wait till I've read all of it, because it'll take me a while, because I don't rush reading this series. I do truly just every couple months just pick up a book or 2 and have a fun time. But I love the Vorkosigan Saga. I love a good world building built space opera with characters that I'm really connected to, and I love their banter and their trials and how they problem solve. It's just a good time. So that's the wrap up where I read all those things. What's on the horizon? So first up, I am going to finish this series this year, and that's going to be the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones. I have the 3rd book as a physical arc, hoping to read it soon. And then I'll have a should you read up for it. So that'll be one I finish in the spring, for sure, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm going to continue Stormlight. I'm actually already reading Words of Radiance right now because it's my audiobook for my commute, and it's super good. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Legitimately. I'm pretty sure it's one of my favorite books of all time. I'm going to continue the Inheritance trilogy. Hopefully I will finish it in the spring, because I think the goal is to maybe read one in March and then maybe hopefully one in April. And then there's the Novella, which, if I'm remembering right, is one of my favorite novellas ever. Oh, I wish I had a physical copy. It's so hard to get physical copies of that novella. Other than in the bind up, which I hate that bind up, and I'm not buying that bind up. I don't like. I'm also slowly going to read Malazan. So maybe I'll finish Gardens of the Moon. Maybe I'll start Dead House Gates. I don't know. Going at my own pace. I'm just trying not to let too much gap happen between when I pick it up. And then, of course, I'm going to continue Vorkosigan. I think our next one doesn't follow Miles or Cordelia, so I'm just in the world with new characters. Wild. Absolutely wild. And what's also fun is we're reading it in chronological order, which is not publication order at all. And I don't really keep track of publication order, but I think the last book I read was published in the mid-90s, and this one I think we're back to like mid to late 80s in publication order. So it should be fun. So those are things that I already mentioned in the wrap-up that we're continuing with because it brings me joy. And now, what is on the horizon? Well, already, and I mean, I'm bulk filming, and this is going to go up later than when I do my reading update for the month. So I'm pretty sure by the time you see this, hopefully, unless something drastic has happened in my reading experience, I'm reading Terra Ignota right now and loving it. I'm having so much fun. So I'm definitely going to try and read more of that. I don't know how quickly. I don't know if it's going to be one every other month. I don't know if it's going to be one a month. I don't know. I'm having so much fun. For sure, it's a series I want to finish this year. And that was the goal with the Patreon Discord anyways. But now I just have, I haven't felt this excited about something since when I read Chorus of Dragons, which, this is not a, if you like Chorus of Dragons, you should read this. They're not the same. At all. It's just the feeling that I am having is the same. But it's got the stuff I like. It's got weird narrative stuff. It's got a confusing world I can explore. It's got themes I like to think about. It's pretty good so far. I'm having a really good time. So chances are I'm going to continue that. I'm going to read the new Robert Jackson Bennett, which is The Tainted Cup. That's the start of something. We're not going to have another book for a while, I'm sure, but that's the start of a series. And I'm going to, I think, continue reading a T. Kingfisher a month, because that's what I've been accidentally doing this year, and it brings me an endless amount of joy. So I think my next one is The Clockwork Boys, which I know has been on a TBR before. I know. But hear me out. I'm already 3 chapters in, and I'm having fun. So I think it'll happen this time. It's the character banter. And also, this one excites me because it actually, I think, will have both POVs, because this is one of the fantasy romances. And don't worry, I will read this book and its sequel back to back. That's how I'm told you're supposed to do it. I will be more than happy to keep reading T. Kingfisher in close succession. So those are things for sure. I hesitate to say the Micaiah Johnson, not because I'm not going to read it, because I don't really know if that's part of a series or just a companion novel in that world. The way I distinguish that is if it has the same characters, and I don't think it has the same characters. If you're in the same world but you don't have the same characters, it gets messy, unless you're Jemison, and then I break all my rules and I just follow what Orbit tells me. If Orbit says it's a series, it's a series. Because Jemison definitely breaks that rule a bit. Just a little. Anyways, that's my current idea of things. I'm definitely biting up a lot of things. I'm definitely rereading heavily. There's definitely a lot of comfort reads here. But I like that there's a horror. I like that there's a new sci-fi that I'm excited about. I am forever looking for more fun science fiction series to read, so feel free to recommend some down below. And if you do, tell me why you recommend it. Is it based off a different series that I've read? Is it because it has XYZ element that you really love or you think I'm going to love? Would love to know. If you want to just leave an emoji to let me know you're here. I don't know. Let's do a cup for The Tainted Cup. Very inspiring emoji, I know. And otherwise, if you liked, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.